Dr. Archibald Finch, a psychiatrist of moderate renown and immoderate neuroses, stared at his reflection. Or rather, he stared at the blurry approximation of his reflection, the one granted by the steam-fogged mirror in his Upper West Side apartment. It was a Sunday, a day of rest, supposedly. But rest, for Archibald, was merely a brief lull in the ongoing battle against the absurdity of existence, a battle waged primarily with overpriced furniture and patients who mistook him for a particularly empathetic barista. "How?" he grunted, the shaving brush a ludicrous tomahawk poised above his face. The 2-day stubble was a battlefield of its own, a dark and unruly landscape promising a fleeting glimpse of something dangerous. Don Giovanni, perhaps, seducing the city with a wink and a prescription for Xanax. Or Faust, trading his soul for a decent co-op and a thriving practice. Mephistopheles, whispering insidious anxieties into the ears of Manhattan's elite. Even Charlton Heston, Moses parting the Red Sea of neurotic anxieties with a well-timed interpretation of dreams. And, of course, Jesus, offering salvation through the gospel of self-care. But alas, the vision was fleeting. Once the razor scraped away the potential for biblical grandeur, he knew what awaited him: the bland, reassuring face of a successful public relations man. A man who could sell you the idea of happiness even if he himself was perpetually haunted by the existential dread of a lukewarm cup of coffee. His wife, Penelope, a woman whose optimism was as relentless as the city's construction, was humming something vaguely classical in the next room. He could hear the muffled sounds of their children, Bartholomew and Guinevere, engaged in their usual Sunday morning ritual of passive-aggressive Lego building. Archibald sighed, lathering his face with the precision of a surgeon. He'd considered the beard, of course. The beard was the psychiatrist's equivalent of the artist's beret, a symbol of intellectual rebellion against the tyranny of societal expectations. But the glasses, the damn glasses, they transformed the potential for rugged intellectualism into the unfortunate reality of near-sighted schlubbery. The sideburns were his compromise, a meager attempt to inject a touch of artistic flair into his otherwise meticulously curated persona. They made him feel, if only for a fleeting moment, like a struggling actor, a tortured soul pouring his heart out on a dimly lit stage. Of course, the reality was that he was more likely to be pouring himself a glass of lukewarm Chardonnay while listening to Mrs. Abernathy recount her latest feud with the doorman. He finished shaving, the Don Giovanni, Faust, Mephistopheles, Charlton Heston, Jesus mirage vanishing down the drain. The face staring back at him was, as predicted, disappointingly competent. The face of a man who could confidently diagnose your anxieties and then bill you an exorbitant hourly rate. Penelope poked her head into the bathroom. "Ready for brunch, darling? The Millers are bringing their new poodle, Fifi. She's supposedly incredibly intuitive." Archibald suppressed a groan. Fifi, the intuitive poodle. Just what he needed. Another canine therapist to steal his clients. "Just a moment, dear," he said, forcing a smile. He splashed on some aftershave, the scent of sandalwood and repressed existential angst filling the air. He looked in the mirror one last time, adjusting his glasses. The sideburns, he decided, were a pathetic attempt at rebellion. He needed something more, something radical. As he walked out of the bathroom, a plan began to form. He wouldn't grow a beard. He wouldn't get a tattoo. He would, however, start wearing a monocle, just to see the look on Mrs. Abernathy's face. That, he thought, was a therapy session worth paying for.